Good morning and welcome to Bennett Martin Public Library. I'm Pat Leach, Director of Lincoln City Libraries, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this news conference. We'll begin with an announcement from Mayor Beitler. Mayor Beitler. This way. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. We are excited about this little announcement. We're announcing, in fact, a new partnership between Lincoln City Libraries and Nebraska Link for the purpose of improving the broadband capabilities at all 8 of our library locations. Nebraska Link will build connections from all of the libraries to the fiber network for the purpose of making major improvements in internet connectivity. This project is possible because of Nebraska Link's successful application to the Nebraska Public Service Commission for $334,000 from the PSC's Universal Service Fund. Connecting to the fiber network will create a 1,000% improvement in bandwidth, which translates to that legendary megabyte level, I believe. Right, David? All right. 1 megabyte. The only cost to Lincoln City Libraries will be the upgrading of its own equipment. The bottom line is that more information can travel at much faster speeds. Connecting to the fiber network will allow library customers much faster internet service on wireless devices and on in-library computers. We are especially excited about how this will benefit Lincoln Public Schools as the district moves forward with providing tablets and other technologies for all its students. The fiber connection allows the libraries to access internet through an educational internet provider also used by LPS. The students' tablets then will connect automatically to the LPS network when they enter the library location. This will provide better wireless internet for students outside of school and will help prepare our students for the workforce of tomorrow. Nebraska Link will use 259,000 feet of existing fiber to complete the connection to the 8 library locations. The goal is to have the network upgrade completed by the end of this calendar year. So I want to finally thank Nebraska Link for all their hard work, for their dedication to the community, and for their very significant in-kind contributions to this whole project. I also want to thank our library system for being so forward-looking, and to the PSC, the Public Service Commission, for making the grant possible, and our special thanks to Frank Landis on the Public Service Commission. So with that, Pat, thank you for the opportunity to make an announcement.
Thank you. It's my pleasure now to introduce Jason Axthelm, who's with Nebraska Link. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you so much. Nebraska Link is so very pleased to be able to enter into this partnership, this public-private partnership with the City of Lincoln, the Lincoln Library System, and the Nebraska Public Service Commission, as they were able to award us the funds that will help build this infrastructure and this architecture to be able to make the connectivities to the Network Nebraska and really give a future-proof style easy to upgrade network for the Lincoln City Libraries. We really have enjoyed the partnership that we've had with the libraries. We've enjoyed the partnership we've had with the City of Lincoln. Being our home office, this is our home ground. We're anxious to be able to bring something to the patrons in the library system here and let them experience what really a flagship style library network system can be. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. And finally, our next speaker is Donna Marvin, who is the Vice President of the Library Board. Donna Marvin.
Thank you, Pat. Yes, I'm Vice President right now of the Library Board, and I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. And this grant will do so much for our library community. When the Library Board approved the strategic plan, we noted the importance of overall success, and that is providing better technology. Already upstairs today and throughout the system, the people have reservations to use 142 computers in this building. And we must also thank the Library Commission for providing a grant that brought a lot of computers to our system. And I think overall you brought 1,500 computers into the library system statewide. So we do provide all of this internet service to our patrons free of charge, and so many people do come and use the library's computers. Many of the children that will be coming through the LPS system with new tablets will be able to utilize our internet service, and many of these children do not have service at home. So this is a great way to provide that. Our strategic plan also points out the library's focus on the next generation of workers in our community. We hope that by having this kind of connection, we will be able to bring into the system a new central library, and that will benefit people of the entire county, as well as all of our LPS students. These improvements don't happen alone, and as I echo the mayor, we'd like to thank the Public Service Commission, and we'd especially like to thank Nebraska Link for all of your wonderful technology that you'll be bringing to our system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. And I'd also just like to acknowledge that a couple of people within the City of Lincoln who are instrumental in making this happen are with us today. Jeff Kirkpatrick, City Attorney, and David Young, who's with the Public Works Department. I also want to note that members of the State Library Commission, the Nebraska Library Commission, are here. We would be delighted if this model that's going to work so well for Lincoln to become a gigabyte library would be one that would also work in libraries throughout the state. So we will be interested in continuing that partnership. That concludes our prepared remarks. I'm curious to know if anyone has any questions. Nancy.
Can somebody give an example of what having a gigabyte library means compared
To not have to.
what happens today? I mean,
Yes, basically what people will experience is faster response. So basically having a higher bandwidth allows more information to go through at a time, and so that means that we're not delaying any bits of information in doing that. There will be much, much better speed because of the increased capacity. And I'd invite David Young to help out with any of the questions that are more technical if you have anything you'd like to add, David.
right now, is there, when you get on, is there a wait?
Is there a wait currently? Sometimes there is, and what we're finding in two ways, Nancy, I would say. One is a lot more people are accessing our system through the wireless connections, and so simply more people are using. More information is available through audio or video, and that takes up more capacity. So yes, people do experience delays at particular times of day because of the number of people using the system and the amount of capacity required for those kinds of uses.
How many computers do you have in all of your libraries?
Throughout the system, we have 142. And then we have an unknown number of people who use our system through their wireless devices, and those could be phones, tablets, laptops, etc.
Are there times during the week in which every computer in a facility, in a library is?
There are times when all the computers in a library are in use, yes. I think that's certainly true for here at Bennett Martin Public Library. We use an automated reservation system to help keep people in order, knowing when their turn is coming. Other questions? Okay. Once again, thank you all for joining us this morning, and feel free to return to the library actually before the system is all finished up by the end of the year. We'd like to see you back, but we hope you come back in 2016 to give our new system a try. Thank you all.
Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. We did get a fair bit of rain last night. I know I dumped over 3 inches of rain out of my rain gauge when I left home at 7. Fortunately, we really haven't had any widespread flooding. Typically what we see, again, is a situation locally is that most of our storm sewer systems are designed for that typical 5-year or 10-year storm and 3 inches of rain overnight. We got some localized flooding. The water in a lot of the streets was just simply a backup in the existing storm sewers and the inlets, and then slowly that was draining out. We did have Old Cheney closed for a little bit, west of 14th down as you go down from Limestone over into Wilderness Park. But that, again, wasn't because of Salt Creek. It was really because we have a culvert down there that's a little bit smaller than what we'd like, and it backed stuff up and that drained out. We do have a current closure on Old Cheney between 70th and 84th. That is because we still have a construction project out there. We have not been able to get the sod and all of the landscaping back in, and we had a fair bit of water trapped on the street because we have erosion sediment control devices there to keep that from running into the storm sewer. That flooded the street. We also had a lot of silt wash off of the banks and the sides, and we have a contractor out there working on that right now. There are 4 or 5 areas in the county that currently are closed, but my understanding is Pam Dingman is headed this way, and she can certainly speak more to that. One of the things we'd like to say that we've been trying to do, one of our goals always is that the public knows as much as we know about what's going on, trying to provide some additional information. And we do now have on the city homepage not an interactive map, but a live map that, along with the street closures and detours, it has a new category called flooded streets. And there are some blue lines on there, and the goal is City Public Works working with Pam Dingman and County Engineer's Office. As we get those information in, we will put those road closures on that map to the best of our ability so folks know where not to go, because again, our goal is for everyone not to get hurt, and we again want to encourage everyone not to drive through standing water on a street and road. You never know what's under there. And Pam is here. Pam, why don't you come on up a little bit? I've given them kind of a quick update in Lincoln, localized flooding, and most of that's run off at this point, and I told them you had some locations, and we've got that interactive map out there. So.
And Pam is the county engineer. It's Pam, D-I-N-G-M-A-N. She's the county engineer.
Thank you. So once again, it's kind of a repeat of the season. We do have water over the road in a number of locations, once again in the southwest quadrant of the county. This time we are trying something new, and we have collaborated with the city so that we have a GIS map up on the city's website that covers all of the roads that are currently closed in the city and the county. We will continue to update this map as the day goes on. In particular, we have some issues at 14th and Rokeby, 25th and Saltillo, 98th and Yankee Hill, 120th south of Martell, Rokeby west of Highway 77, 96th and Woodstruck Road to the east, and we have a number of areas around the 14th Street and 27th Street and Rokeby and Saltillo areas. We are asking that people don't drive through the water. You may notice that Salt Creek, once again, is very high. We will continue to monitor that as the day goes on. We are experiencing some pipe failures because it's been wet for so long and because of the excessive flows we've put through these pipes. We will be fixing those as the day goes on. As I've said before, Lancaster County this year is rich in corn stalks. And the first flood washed several feet of corn stalks onto many of our roads. And so as we're filling those drainage ways again, we are cleaning corn stalks again, and they're very heavy and they're very dense at this point. And unfortunately, we're sharing those with the city of Lincoln.
Thank you.
But that will continue to be an issue for us as we continue to monitor this storm event and also the storm events that are expected for this weekend.
Questions from anybody? Nancy?
Teresa Street plant, do you have any idea how whether there was enough water so that they're having the same issue there or not.
I don't have any update on exactly where Teresa Street is. I could have Donna Garden perhaps get a hold of you. I'm headed to City Hall from here. With that amount of rain, I'm sure the flow is up a little bit, but I would suppose that we wouldn't be bypassing or anything at this point. Should be able to handle that through the plant.
Any major concerns about the forecasting? What's going to happen with the showers coming to that? Can you have some pretty good analysis of that?
Well, both Roger and I remain concerned. I mean, we're in a condition where the ground is heavily saturated, where we have a number of structures that have repeatedly been hit and battered this spring and now into the summer. We will continue to have crews monitoring both of these. And as you know, if the Emergency Operations Center of Lancaster County is activated, the city and the county work together to protect the public. And so the good news is this year we've had a lot of practice. Every time we have one of these events, we make improvements and we add new things. And so if we are hit again this weekend, we will be prepared and we will take all actions needed to protect the public.
I'd agree with Pam. We'll keep a close eye on things. Certainly the runoff is almost 100% on anything we get. I'm still fairly confident for the most part our overall drainage system and Antelope Valley and Salt Creek have continued to perform pretty well. The city's a little better off than the county on some of our structures. They're a little better protected with paved streets and some lined channels and some of those kind of things. So we don't have some of those failure issues that are quite as impending. But we'll keep a close eye on it, and we'll continue to coordinate and keep folks apprised of what's going on.
Yeah, do you have any estimates on the cost of the counties for those shower-related rain damages?
You know, I don't have a cost of the damage as of today. You know, our FEMA estimate for damage from, of course, the May 6th storm is right around $1.9 million. You know, we continue to assess and estimate damages. We're looking at here in the next week going out with a contract to remove debris from our right-of-way because it is, I mean, it's a lot of debris and more than our crews can handle. So, of course, that will add some additional monies probably to that number, and we just continue to assess as we go.
You say FEMA. I know what FEMA is, but you said FEMA damage. You don't know overall. What part of it are we talking about?
Okay, so as we talk about FEMA damage, we are currently compiling information for FEMA. FEMA has not yet declared the May 6th event a disaster. So they are investigating that. Should they declare it a disaster, some of the money that we have spent county-wide, and that would include some of the money in the city too, could be reimbursed by FEMA.
So the 1.9 million, though, is that a pretty good estimate of the overall damage on roads and things, or what?
The 1.9 million is the estimate that we currently have for the damage from that event to our roads and bridges. And as I said before, that event damaged 28 of our bridges, which we continue to monitor, and we had roadway damage at 1,800 locations. I think when you talk about the city in contrast to the county, you know, whereas the city has the dense population, they have the levees, and like Roger said, you know, the fortified drainage structures. In the county, any 25-year rain event overtops the road by design. And that's simply because the dollars are just not there to pay for the higher level of infrastructure.
Roger, any idea when Old Cheney might open?
No, the contractor is on site. I would have every hope and desire that by midday or mid-afternoon, certainly we'd be open back up for the public. But that much mud on the street, it's just the potential of a crash or somebody getting hurt is too much, and we'd rather have it closed. But they're working diligently.
So, right, you said that's a construction area, though. Is that right? Did you say you've got construction going on?
Yes, remember that's Old Cheney Road between 70th and 84th, the widening to 4 lanes. And because of the horrifically wet spring, leave it up to farmers and engineers to complain about the weather all the time. What else has been a challenge this spring is you can't get sod. the sod cutters can't get into their fields and cut sod, and all of that open area in the medians between curb and trail and up on the private property was to be sodded, and they haven't been able to do that. So that's all just laying out there, and the water's running mud and silt off.
That's where there was a lot of construction.
Yes,
Pretty much
yeah.
opening up.
Most of the concrete and hard construction is done. It's just finishing up now, and even though we had it protected with that kind of rain, we had a lot of silt and mud got on the street. Yeah. So it's not damaged. They just got to clean up the mud and silt, get it swept up, and keep it out of the storm sewer.
A lot of people on our Facebook page are talking about we spend so much money on road construction and on these projects. How come it's not working? How come our roads are flooding? Can you address that?
Well, first I'll go back, and we spent a lot of money on Antelope Valley, and it is working. Very little localized flooding around Lincoln High and on those major streets. Lincoln does design its arterial streets to be above the 100-year flood in most cases, and at least the 50-year flood. Again, I'll go back to part of what Pam said in risk. You give us engineers enough money, we can design infrastructure to handle anything, but it's just not prudent to design storm sewer systems and inlets on every local street to handle a 50 or 100-year storm. And our design criteria would say on a typical residential street, we'll handle a 5-year storm. If it's in a low spot or a sump where all the water runs down, those are designed to a 10-year storm. So they are working as designed. We just need people to be patient. The water ponds a little bit, but then over time it runs on into the storm sewer system and out. So it's not that the streets are failing. They're doing what they're designed for, but it's not appropriate to spend money to design for every potential. It's just unusual that we've had this kind of runoff and rain this year that really have tested the system a little more. Okay? Anybody else?
Storms are forecasted for tonight again.
Is that a question?
Will some roads stay closed if the same amount of rain comes through tonight? Is it worth reopening just to reclose if there's no risk of storms again tonight?
Well, again, in Lincoln, we don't have any roads closed other than the mud cleanup on Old Cheney. Clearly, our practice has been, if a road opens, we've been pulling the barricades off to the side, and then they're there available if the next rainfall event requires us to do that. And I'm sure that's what Pam and the county will be doing as well. And we'll try to keep that map updated for what continues to be closed throughout the day and into the weekend.
So what we'll do is we are very aware of where our hot spots in the county are. So the areas that have been barricaded off today, as the waters recede throughout the day, we will pull those barricades off the road, but we will be prepared should the water go back over the road in the night to re-barricade the road and close the road. And that is our standard practice.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
How you holding up, girl?